Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this particular workshop on ICCB program review. My name is Kurian Tarakanal, Executive Director of Research and Institutional Effectiveness here at Trident, and also the coordinator for ICCB program reviews. And with me, Mary Lou Murphy, Senior Research Associate in the Office of Research Institutional Effectiveness, and also who knows everything about ICCB program review. So this workshop, we want to give you an introduction to what is ICCB program review, and then go into the details of how to complete the templates you have received or going to receive in the coming years. If you're attending or listening to this, to get more ideas about the reviews you'll be completing this year or in the coming years. So the agenda is I'm going to spend a little time explaining what is ICCB program review, what's the purpose, and how it is done at Trident, and then hand it over to Mary Lou Murphy to provide you the entire details. She knows everything about the data, how it goes into those templates, how you can complete those templates, and since we have just one participant here, it's probably going to be a one-on-one on how exactly we could really complete your worksheet, your templates. So, ICCB program review, from a compliance standpoint, it is mandated by the statute or the ICCB Illinois Public Community College Act, and it's mandated. So every program offered at Illinois community colleges have to be reviewed once every 5 years. So that's the mandate, and we have to be in compliance to offer those programs. But the real purpose of this review is to help us in many ways, specifically in decision-making and planning related to our programs. So at the institutional level, at the individual department level and the program level, how to structure these programs, about the curriculum, how these programs would be offered, what's going to be the curriculum, what's going to be the instruction. So those decisions can be made once we know more about the program, how we have done in the last 5 years. So that's where the review is really helping us. And this is also helping us, especially looking at from an equity standpoint, weaknesses or anything related to equity, and see how the programs can be supported to address those equity-related issues. And overall, the purpose is how to offer a locally responsive program, the most cost-effective way and the best quality program, how to offer that best quality program. That's what the program review is all about when it comes to the overall purpose of these program reviews. So the process, ICCB has a schedule, 5-year schedule, as I mentioned. Every 5 year, at least once every 5 years, all programs have to be assessed or reviewed. So ICCB has come up with a schedule, and ICCB has 4 different areas. The entire instructional programs and academic support areas are divided into 4 areas: career and technical education, academic disciplines, cross-sectional instruction, and then academic support services, these 4 areas. And every year, according to the schedule, we will have certain programs under each of these 4 groups. So actually, this year we are starting a new cycle of 5 years, 5-year cycle. So the current cycle runs from 2022 to 2026. And in general, talking about what is expected in these reviews, we could say that the programs are reviewed for cost, quality, and the need, cost, quality, and cost and quality. But in this new cycle, I could see that there is an emphasis on the equity aspect of it. So you would see a lot more questions compared to other cycles. This particular cycle has more questions related to equity. So where we would look at the disaggregated data and look at the equity aspect of these programs. So this gives a glimpse of the 5-year cycle under each of those 4 groups: student, academic discipline, student and academic support services, cross-disciplinary instruction, and career and technical education. Of course, career and technical education is a long list. This slide doesn't include everything there, but this is just giving you an idea of the 5-year schedule. We will be sharing the 5-year schedule with the deans and also with others, and also it will be available on the portal, so you'll be able to see that. So we will be sharing that 5-year schedule soon. Then, with that, I would like to hand it over to Mary Lou Murphy to go into the details of these templates, how you can go about completing them, how to use the data that's already shared with you, and go from there. And of course, if you have any questions, you should be able to answer them.
Sure. Good. And I will mostly be sitting so that I can maneuver through the documents that I'm having to share. So as we do see, I just want to point out, so for the CTE, these are zip codes. So, it grew.
You could reduce like this. Are you able to do it?
There we go, okay. Sorry. So this is, again, just one line of many pages, but they do it all by zip code. So this year, we're doing all the specific zip. Okay. Did you want to go through the schedule? We're okay with the schedule? So,
Yeah.
So this is actually the Triton schedule that we adhere to. So February, we sent out the packet to each of the deans and for all the programs that you'll be working with. And you basically have that until April 29th when the due date would be to send these templates back. The process really is, so the deans will send these out to the chairs, coordinators who are responsible for each of the programs, and then the dean will send it back to research. So you will have time in between there to communicate with your dean as to how you filled it out, have her feedback, her feedback before sending it on to research. It's typically like a 300-page report, so we ask for it to come back, and hopefully before you get into the end of the semester, and then May through July, we're reviewing the document, pulling it all together, reading it, looking for any obvious edits, making any corrections, fine to whatever, and then if we have any questions, those will go back to the deans. So that come this July 16th day, we have a completed draft, which then goes to the president and executive committee for their review. And we've given them a month to read it. It's typically, like I said, like 300 pages to read this. And then we get it back with their feedback, any changes that may come out, and the final report is due to Iccb September 1st. So it's quite a process to go through for all of this. So I like to just start with the thought process behind why are we doing this? So basically in the blue circles, it's kind of like what we're doing, and the outside circle is why. What do you think while you're doing this? So one of the documents that we've included in this packet is the previous year review. So you should go to the previous year review first, and those are how the template starts out with these questions. What did you say you were going to do 5 years ago? So you're going to go to the previous review, look at what you said you'd do, read through that, come to the end, and there's action items at the end. So throughout the process then, for this template, so we say, what did we say we were going to do? And then what did we do? So it's a 5-year report of showing, based on need and quality and cost and equity and enrollment, and we have some specific data, what did we do in this 5-year period? And then we're going to end it with the last section that's really, what are we going to do in the next 5 years? So it really is a continuous process that you want to go through to say, what did we say we were going to do? What did we do? And what do we want to do in the next 5 years?
So all of the documents are on the portal?
No, actually, they've gone to the deans
The ones from 5 years ago, I mean.
yeah, it's in the packet.
Okay.
So, and I'll go through it right now. If you don't have it, if you don't get it, or if you get lost, whatever, you certainly can resend it.
Okay.
So just to go through how we're going, before you even look at the template, how we're going to answer the template. So as we said, the template, as you'll see, is divided in half, and so it gets really long. So you want your questions, your answers to be concise. If it asks for data, you don't really want to copy the data in. If you're taking it off of a web page, make this huge, copy text or anything. So you really want to use your own words, fill in the data. As we go through the templates and look at them, you'll see I have a bunch of hints that are in bracketed comments that will help you think about how you want to answer this question, maybe point you to the document that is included so you can get some data from that. Just remember to remove those bracketed comments. And this is an Iccb statement, no blank responses. So every cell has to be filled in, and there should be very few not applicables responses. And again, I just always want to say, this is your review. This isn't just review for Iccb and a task that needs to be accomplished. It really is a time for you to reflect on your program and look through these questions to really determine, the feasibility of this program. And I will also say, if you've had any programs that have closed or are now inactive, but had been active in this 5-year period, you still have to respond to those. So basically, if something has closed, let's say in the last 2 years, you will fill it out, and the action item at the very end would say, this program is going to become inactive. So here's the document. I think I'm going to step into looking at a template first. So let me show you some of the stuff that you'll receive in your packet. So I'm not going to find them all. Let's see. So here is the 2017 program review that will be included because your program. So I'm going to look at criminal justice. So there's the 4 programs you're going to be reviewing this year. So this is the 2017 report, and you're going to want to go here, page 59, and let's see. There's yours, Patrick, so I understand you're on the phone, so we don't see you. Okay, so here's the report that was generated 5 years ago. Each program has its own separate template, and basically here is the past review action item. So at the time, this would have been the 11 to 16 action, but you're going to go to the bottom of this report. Oops. So this is, oh, okay, here's your data. So you're going to go to the bottom of this report and said, you know, what is the action for in 2017? It says we're going to continue with minor improvements. We're going to align this program with the current ICCB requirements, and we're going to revise the courses to better reflect the changes both in the industry and the student population. So you're going to start with that, saying this is, what did we say we were going to do? And then based on that, and you will fill in the question for this template to say this is what we were going to do. Then always use that as like a reflection. Did we do this, you know, and what was the cost of it, what was the need for this, as well as anything else that may have been added in the last 5 years. So that's the purpose of the prior year report. And then, let me go to a template. So the template here is, this is not filled out at this point. This is just a template. But for each of your programs, as you just saw with the criminal justice, all of this information has been filled in. The program title, I have one. I do have a CIS program one. So here's, you know, the data that's been filled in. Now these are the comments that I've talked about. So we have some comments in here that can be hints. So it says, based on the 2017 program review, then report any past review actions were, you know, and you said it was continue with minor improvements. So here's the bracketed comment that I refer to, and then I say delete this bracketed comment. So this is also talking about the program objectives. So this is, you know, the beginning of the report and who is responsible for this review. And then we go into the 3 indicators, as Kieran had talked about. So we have the need indicator. 1 is need. And again, you see each of these little hints provide data from the curriculum, refer to the curriculum-specific demand data document attached in the packet. So we're talking about the demand here, and I'm sorry, that's the document I did not bring to this presentation, but it is included in the packet.
We would get those from the labor statistics.
We used a tool called MC, and so I did send that information, but you're allowed to use whatever you use already. If you have a link that you go to.
Well, we use the Bureau of Labor Statistics to show number of people employed, job growth for the next 10 years. So I'm comfortable using. I'll use whatever you guys want me to use, but sure. I use that typically every year when we do things.
Yes, yeah. And so what you're comfortable with, what I send is look at it from a program perspective as well from the occupational perspective. Okay. And yes, it's a 5-year view of you know, the jobs that are available and some salary information. But yes, what you are comfortable with, there's nothing, we've just provided some additional data if you have no idea where to go.
There's no requirement from ICCB that you should use the data.
Right. So they just want to see some legitimate data,
yes.
Not just us guessing about
yes,
stuff where we're getting the numbers from. Okay.
Yes.
And again, it's good for you to see what is they're showing for 5 years. So that's the need, and then we come into this cost. Now, I did say that in the presentation piece. We don't yet have the cost data organized yet, but that will be coming out in the very near future. So we provide all of the cost.
The cost data would be salaries and
that's
buildings and paying the electric bill, that kind of stuff, and that's what you guys would include.
Yeah, so we go against the ledger, general ledger, and we will have the revenue and the expenses, and then we
generated by each department.
Correct. So it's different in that it's not generated by program, and so CGA, for each of your program, you'll be using the same data. But, it still is something to look at. And we also give the institutional level. So the questions are cost to the institution associated with this program. Again, we're looking at it by subject, but how costs compared to other similar programs, so you'll be able to do some comparison with other subject areas. And then it also has the institutional. So you see, we have all of this, set up to fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, based on the data that we send. And we just weren't able to get that totally compiled before we had to get this sent out. But that doesn't mean, again, when we give you a question and answer like this, you feel free to add anything additional. And a lot of times I will say, at an institutional level, and then at a department level, then you would respond to the department level. And so it won't be a bracketed comment. I wanted to just find one of those. Here, what innovations, brag about your program. This is your opportunity to say, what new and wonderful things have you brought in? Dual credit, if you have that included in your program. Oh, I said that wrong, but. So 315, what professional development or training is offered to adjunct and full-time? So in my bracketed comment says, describe any specific department training. And then we have this other comment that's not bracketed. And so we're saying at Triton College, the institutional level, we offer the Center for Teaching Excellence. So you would keep that statement and then add anything specific for the department. So here you also see, we're looking at assessment. What do we do for assessment? We're looking at student satisfaction. So we have reported data from the graduating student survey, the alumni surveys, and made some statement about that. But again, what are you doing at a program level to show your student satisfaction? On down. And then we get into the actual data pieces of the piece. So each of your programs, we've gone out, and I can tell you how many students are enrolled in these programs. And again, in the programs mean they have been active in this, they're actively declared this program. So you may say, I have a whole lot more students in the class than this, but these are the students that are actively declared that program. And then the completers. So here you want to do some comparison. How's our enrollment versus how's our completions? And then another set of data that we send is disaggregate data. So it says what disaggregate data was reviewed. So Okay, so this is 5-year enrollment count and completion counts by institution and by program. So the first page here is institution. So we see we're looking at disaggregate data by gender and by ethnicity. So we have, the counts and then the percentages. So we can say that in FY21, 55% of Triton was female. So then you're going to come down here to your program. So here's your program-specific data, disaggregate data. And we can see here, so 23% of CIS in FY21 was female. So the next question it really asks, so you're looking at this and it says, what disaggregate data have you looked at? And how does this data support your program goals? And then, were there any gaps? So based on those questions and this data, you're going to be able to say, well, yeah, 23% are female, so we have a much less, female count here than institutionally. So does this program represent the institution? And it's a little slight on females. And again, we realize that's probably the nature of the program, but what can you do as a department to increase any of these gaps that you discover? So again, you would just come down, they're all in here, so all the programs that are being reviewed. At which point you could also use this as looking at it from, institutionally, so you can look at it this way, but also amongst other programs. So maybe within CJA, let's see, of course it's crossing over the line. 50-50, and you can see that's pretty representative. So again, it's by gender and race, and then we go into, here's the completions. Oops. No, that's go slow. Here's the completions. So starting on page 8, we see then the institutional completion counts and percentages, and then the completion counts by disaggregate by gender and also ethnicity. So you're going to do kind of the same thing. Look at your enrollment, look at your completions. So that's the part of this that really is looking at, strong IR data. And it tells you to look at that document. It has, are the students served in this program representative of the total? So I re-entered that information so you can say overall against the institution. And is this program served representative of the district? So here's our district data. So compare the curriculum code, disaggregate data by gender, race, and ethnicity, and then make some comments. So then we come to the bottom of the review, the template. And again, what action are you going to take? So based on this review, are you going to continue with this program? Does this program need significant modification? Is it going to be placed on an inactive status? Should it be discontinued or anything other? Why did you give the above response? So this is where you're really going to rationalize your decision, and then what intended action steps. So this is all the stuff you're going to review with your dean before sending this back to us. And just the other final, so this is really the summary section. If program, oops, yeah. The program not met, what action steps should be taken, to what extent are action steps being implemented, what resources do you need. Again, it's a good time for that discussion with your dean if you need any additional resources, and then who's responsible for completing this. So that's the basic CTE template. I have the other ones. I'm not sure you need to go through those. If we had had other people here, we could have gone through the academic support, similar data. You want to be looking at courses, and you know, it's the academic discipline is really arts and science going through all of their courses. So let's see. So I can kind of step through this now. So again, I stepped you through the CTE. Academic discipline is a similar template, but I'll stick with CTE. You know, so these are the sections of the template, and the green is really saying these are the supporting documents that you're going to use. So for the program identification, you use the prior review, you're going to use your curriculum data, you're going to use the demand data, cost data that we'll send to you, enrollment data with this disaggregate data, and then action plans. Oh, I did forget this. So at the end of each of these sections, the last question of each of these indicators is reflect on what action plans resulted from this review. So within each of these indicators, there's a summary question there also. And we looked at the prior review. I'm sorry, I didn't have the demand data document. Those are by subjects. And so if you have any questions, once that gets sent out, feel free to ask. It tells you here that these are the questions that you're going to use that demand data for. And it's program data, occupational data. Or as I said, departments may have a site that they use, and that's fine too. This is the cost data. This is basically how it's going to be set up. So I'm only showing you the institutional line. You're going to have a line for each of your subject areas also. So we have the total credit hours for the fiscal year, the revenue, the cost, the institutional effect, square foot cost for the year that you've incurred, adjusted cost, and then this adjusted RCF, which is then what you're going to be plugging in and using your comparison. You want the adjusted RCF to be positive. And again, the questions that it's answered. We went through the disaggregate data, institutional, gender and race ethnicity by curriculum code. And then the final section is the summary, asking for what action to be taken, summary, rationale, and then intended action plan. So that really covers what we think is important. We don't think that you're going to go out there and not have any more questions. We want you to know we're here to help.
It's all coming back to me now from 5 years ago.
Yes, it's like an old nightmare, huh?
It's not as bad as the IPRs used to be.
It will be back. Don't worry about the IPR.
They said no. They said it's dead.
Oh, is it?
They said IPRs are dead.
Oh.
So that's what they told us at chairs and coordinators last time. IPRs are dead. No more.
Okay, Carrie, you didn't tell me that. Or do we? You
Doesn't mean they can't revive it, but for right now.
Yeah, it needed a review. You needed to do a program review for the IPR. So, but yes, we're here one-on-one if you want to talk about it. We do have another session here at CT in a month on February 22nd.
March.
Today.
March.
March 22nd. Thank you, I meant that.
And will this be available as a guide for us?
I believe this is being recorded, so you can come back to this, definitely. And Laura can tell us, I don't know where they store it or anything, you may know already when you come to a
If you
CT.
like, we could share the slides too, PowerPoint.
Certainly,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, in general, the last couple of years, our reviews have been very good. We haven't had any difficulty in compiling
Yeah.
them, so we have been doing very well with the reviews. So, and we have a good process in place. So, and we start early in the semester, so we have the time. So depending on when you can find some time to work on it, we have the entire semester to look at it. So,
In between all the other projects.
yeah, yes. of
You got
course.
other projects?
Yeah.
The new
Yeah,
courses
yeah.
we're developing, and yeah, in between all that other stuff.
Certainly we can, this is not the last thing we are doing. We should be able to help you with any questions, like anything related to data.
I save everything, so I'll look around and I'll
Sure.
find
Yeah.
my one from 5 years ago.
Sure. And like I said, the.
And we had a
reports
different
here.
dean back then. The dean that we have
Oh,
now
yeah,
is
Chuck.
way more helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. And
Chuck,
she's
Chuck was a
very-
nice guy, but he was a little scattered.
Yeah,
So,
and Jennifer really knows this
Yeah,
process.
she
so
does.
She's
She's
near and
really
dear
helpful.
to it, so, yeah.
She was in charge at her previous institution.
Yeah.
She knows
Yes.
this process very
Mhm.
well.
yeah, whenever you have a question, you just bring it to her and she'll sit with you and work it out. We
Sure.
didn't have that same relationship with Chuck. Sometimes it was like, this gotta be done right now. And it's like, well, if you wanna show me how to do it, I'll be happy to do it, but I don't know, I'm lost here.
And if you even go back to, 10 years ago, this process has really evolved. And so, they used to be like one-page reviews, and it just wasn't enough information to. I wanted to see, Patrick, are you still out there? If you had any questions?
How do you know? Like, I never heard anything.
I didn't either. Laura had said he was on.
Oh,
I saw him signed in, but
Yeah.
Okay, since he's got
Okay, good. Thank you.
It's on
Well, you
now.
know where to find us if you have any questions.